Welcome to Rise, Reclaim, and Renew with Joni Elizabeth, the podcast for women who are ready to step into their strength, rewrite their story, and live a life that feels aligned, confident, and deeply true. Hi, I'm your host, Joni Elizabeth, therapist, coach, writer, speaker, and fierce advocate for women who are rising out of old patterns, reclaiming their worth, and renewing the way they show up in the world. Here we will explore the real life moments that shape us, the healing that transforms us, and the mind-body wellness tools that help us to grow forward with intention and courage. Every episode is created to empower you, to remind you of your resilience, your brilliance, and your ability to create a life that feels grounded, joyful, and authentically yours. So settle in, take a deep breath, grab a cup of coffee or your favorite beverage, and get ready to rise, reclaim, and renew one meaningful conversation at a time. Welcome, beautiful soul. Hi, I'm your host, Joni Elizabeth. I'm glad you're here with me today. I'm going to talk about something that sounds simple, but it really is about living your life with intention. If you think about this, are you living on autopilot, just kind of going through the motions, responding to information? We have information overload, really. I've been kind of tracking this with people's overall sense of wellness because, there's no lack of information or how to get information. And thinking about, is it overloading your mind and your brain basically to where you feel like, okay, I'm just kind of numb and going through the day and responding and taking care of things and everybody else, and you have not taken time for yourself, or you've abandoned yourself, or you're living by default, as I put it, what's normal in your own life and mind. When we live life with intention, we begin to notice and love ourselves, love yourself enough to go, what is it that I need right now? And many people think, oh, that feels selfish or awkward or uncomfortable because they're so used to just responding to whatever other people need that they forgot and abandoned themselves or never even knew how to notice what they need because maybe they were conditioned growing up in childhood that walking on eggshells, don't rock the boat. You get punished or sent to your room if you have emotions or big emotions instead of learning how to emotion regulate and be validated. So today we're going to talk about being intentional with your life. I know I've done some videos and I think one of my podcasts on for probably over 12 years now, but I'm going to just throw that number out there. I have been working with amazing people, anywhere from top, huge CEO corporate people to homeless people in between, amazing people of all professions, all different ages, really from teenage to past 70, and it's amazing. And what I have been sharing with people, because I started noticing really probably within a year or two with smartphones coming out and texting, and this was before, all the social media, but that people were starting to be more stressed. That has increased stress, depression, feeling bad about their life or themselves. It's increased with more access to more information and more social media and more things that are distracting a person from really embracing your life. So if you think about that, so with amazing people, I've encouraged them, track how much time you're scrolling on your phone. Nothing wrong with it. And you get to choose. You are the CEO, the owner of your life, of your mind, of your mindset. And yes, easier said than done. like I said, I teach people this um, on such a strategic core foundational piece, custom designed for them too. But to watch people be free from all that is priceless. It's so amazing to see them smile more and radiate with happiness. So when we can take a snapshot of what does your average day look like? You've got your work hours if you're still in the working field. You've got your, if you're still raising, children and you have a relationship and friendships, you've got responsibilities, all those things in a day, and of course your sleep hours. Take a little snapshot for a week or two of just out of curiosity, how am I spending my day? Am I liking how this is going? There's going to be some things in your day that you're like, "Oh, I'm not thrilled about, you know, doing the laundry or mowing the lawn or whatever." We can have a healthier mindset for those things too, that I would be happy to share more information if you ever would like to know more, and any feedback. I appreciate it. If you are liking how things are going in your life, keep it going. That's awesome. And I celebrate you. If you're finding, no, I've been kind of on autopilot, down, depressed, this does not replace therapy. Therapy is such an amazing gift that you give to yourself. And I have people all the time going, oh my goodness, I'm so glad I'm working on this. I'm so glad that I finally, said yes to myself and to therapy and sharing that now on huge teams and everything. I love it. This is not about that. This is about you and your life and how you're spending your time. We all get the same 24 hours in a day. And to think, okay, aside from work and responsibilities or relationship, how are you spending your time and quality time? I teach people schedule an appointment with yourself. And that could be like my appointment with myself tonight is I'm going to tune out everything else. I'm going to just read, or I'm going to watch a good movie, or I'm going to go for a walk. It is your time. And if you think about like what things are fulfilling in your life that you're like, this I really like, this brings me joy, what things are draining. When you have kind of a blueprint of how you're currently spending your life, you can look at that. Where might you want to make adjustments? And I have people say, well, I'm not happy, but I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. So let me break it down to smaller increments, starting in with a daily check-in with yourself. How am I doing today? How are you doing today? What do you want or need? And yes, many people are like, I don't even know because I was so far removed from myself, as I wrote about in one of the books that I've multi-author in. You can become a human doing instead of a human being. So when you're checking in and going, what other things might I want to do? When I've helped people to limit social media, at first they find like, oh, I feel this pull because it is addictive. It's addictive to what it does to the brain. It also, studies are showing that it can cause more depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, dissatisfaction with your life if you don't use it appropriately. I'm not anti-social media. I think there's great things. I use it to help inspire you, connect with people. I've met people all over the world that are amazing, and I love what they do, and I love our friendship and appreciate it. However, to not live in those spaces of what is everybody else doing, and to really sit with like, okay, what did you used to dream about doing maybe when you were a child or a teenager, young adult? What would you like to do now? What things might you want to bring back into your life? Like I had somebody go, oh, I started to dance again, or um, learning a musical instrument, or going out and um, riding motocross, going to Formula One. I mean, just fun things, connecting with friend groups, having a bonfire again. I'd say going to the beach, one of my favorite things. But when you start to think about that and go, okay, how can I in this busy, busy world and so many families, you're busy if you're raising kids, it's a lot. It is a lot. It's a full-time job in and of itself, but you can still get creative and say, am I spending too much time just on autopilot, scrolling through my phone, and I'm not taking time? That's been some people's way to decompress. But if you think of like what would be more nourishing to your body and your mind and your life to decompress in ways that maybe you hadn't even thought of that would really feel amazing. This giving you things to kind of process and think about. But I also want to go over a few things that I had written about this. So when you start to choose your life, remember, like I said, you're the CEO of your life. You are the main actor, actress of your life and writing the script. Yes, some things are written in the script of your life prior to maybe even hearing this message or coming into counseling, but we can unlearn that and we can learn healthier ways of being and embracing, like, if it's your life, what do you want to do with that? What's important to you? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to meet? What do you want to do in your hobbies and activities, and maybe even your profession? So when you think about that, choosing your life moment by moment in an intentional way that feels aligned, that is important because it's not about making you a clone of maybe you watched your favorite influencer or whatever. That's wonderful. Those people are doing that and that's part of their niche. But you are one of one. You are one of one and not a copy. Oh my goodness. Not a carbon copy of somebody else. You are one of one, a custom designed model. There's no one like you out there. Now, if you find something like you're watching an influencer or learning from a trusted professional, or you have a famous person you admire, somebody in your family, I encourage people to write down, like, what do you like about that person? What do you like about what they're sharing? And are there things that maybe you want to add in your life because you're like, I really like this. I like what they taught about that, or I learned something, but not pulling it away from who you are and your own gifts, talents, and abilities. So it's kind of, again, can be both and. So if you think about, what aligns with your core values and self, and um, looking at where your limiting beliefs are, where those came from. Like I had somebody the other day identified that how their label was from growing up and going, oh, that's no longer fitting, which is beautiful, but it feels weird for people when they align with their true self. To say, wow, hello, welcome home to who I am, not the mold that I fit into, try to be loved and accepted or approved of, or um, thought that's how you had to do things. You get to be you. So the truth is, most people, and I hear this, I've worked with in the line of therapy and coaching for over 20 years now. So I've met amazing people and continue to, and it's my humble blessing and pleasure to be working with each precious, amazing person that I'm blessed to work with. But most people don't wake up one day and consciously design a life that they don't love. You wouldn't intentionally do that. It really happens slowly and um, happens, like I said, with a packed schedule, being overwhelmed, information overload, respond to everybody else, And you've, before you know it, you've abandoned yourself or your people pleasing, and learning how to recover from that. Like I said, stay kind and compassionate. That's really important. Well, some people we need bold boundaries with, but keeping your kindness, but not taking ownership for their life and their emotions. And um, you get to be you, and you get to enjoy and own your things in life and your stuff in life. So it usually doesn't happen consciously, designing a life by default, just going through the motions, and it's becomes a habit. And then before you know it, obligations are stacking up, and the bills, and everybody needs something from you, and you're living a life that is full but doesn't always feel meaningful and isn't aligned with who you are and what's important to you. So I want to talk about how we create some change. Uh, Um, what does it actually mean? We hear this like, live your life by intention, be your authentic self, and those have become kind of familiar terms out there. And it's like, well, what does that mean? What are people doing, and how are they doing that? And how do they, align with that? It is a process. Living with intention doesn't mean having a perfect routine or being hyper productive. It means you are the one choosing, not reacting or not allowing other people to make your choices for you. It's the difference between, I guess I'm doing this because I said yes, and I'm doing this because it aligns with what matters to me right now. That's a big difference. And it feels amazing when you can learn to, like, what do you choose? Not because you feel like you're supposed to, but what do you choose? What matters to you? That shift alone can change the way your entire life feels. Freeing, very freeing over time. So, strategy number one, as I said earlier in the podcast, get clear on what actually matters to you, not what your family says should matter, not how you grew up, not what your friends say or your significant other or best friends, but when you sit quietly over time to look at and think about, like, wow, what really matters to me? What's important to me? So here's a simple but powerful question. If I zoomed out of my life 6 months from now, what would make me feel proud of how I spent my time? I want you to think about that. Take some time to really think about that. If you zoomed out of your life 6 months from now, what would make you feel proud of how you spent your time? Now, what looks good, not what other people expect, is what I said. What feels meaningful to you, not feeling like, well, I should be doing this or that, but what really matters to you? Some people realize they want more peace, and that's amazing too, not more productivity. And people have their value based on, oh, I'm, you know, top earner or influencer or titles under your name or whatever, or how they, where they live or whatever. That is not your core identity. It's one piece of a reflection of who you are. It's not your value and your worth. So when you look at that, like, you know, what really matters to you? What do you want more of? Some people realize they want deeper relationships, not more social obligations and connections. Some people realize they want health, energy, and clarity more than achievement, embracing your life. You can't live intentionally if you're unclear on what you're aiming at. So that's where, when I was saying, kind of take a snapshot of your life right now and what's going on and where you're spending your time, and then you're creating over time a blueprint for you, your choices, your life. Strategy number 2, learn the power of pause. And this is powerful before yes. For all you that are people pleasers, this can help you so much, and it can save you from over committing, over functioning when you can take this moment. It's one of the most, there's many, but this is one very powerful life-changing habits that you can build into your life. Literally, before you say yes, when somebody, do you want to go here? You're invited, or um, can you do this? You pause for a minute before you automatically say yes. I like how in a phenomenal conference, it was brought up. I cannot remember the acronym, but it was something like they were talking about huge family events. There's always something going on. And in that family, they have this motto of something like, you're always invited, never obligated. So when you can pause to say, how do I feel about this? What do I want? Before you commit, that's going to help give you some of your personal space and power back. Try this in small intentional check-ins, because I know it can feel awkward or people feel bad, like, oh, am I going to let somebody down? You're not living their life. You're living your life. And it's good to have your own healthy boundaries and be the CEO of your life. So when you try this in small increments, does this support the life I'm trying to build, or does it pull me away from it? Something to think about. You don't need a long explanation if you're going to say no to somebody. Just a simple pause gives you more space to choose what's important to you instead of just react and respond. Over time, your life becomes shaped less by pressure and more by preference of what you want. Strategy number 3, design your environment, not just your willpower. Intention isn't about mindset, it's also about structure. If your environment consistently pulls you off track, willpower will eventually lose. So instead, here's another thing to ask yourself. What is my environment? What in my environment is making it harder for me to live the way I want? That could be like, do you have clutter around? Do you have chaos? Do you have things that you could change in your environment? Making those little shifts can make a big difference. So, for example, maybe it's consistent notifications pulling at your attention on your phone. You could step away from your phone or silent the notifications. People pleasing patterns that drain your time. That's where you can pause, say yes to yourself, and maybe no to someone else. Sometimes you're going to say yes to them, and that's good because you're like, I choose to do this. A schedule with no recovery space built in, and that's where I was like, schedule time with yourself. Literally, I've been having more people do this on their calendars, like make appointments with yourself, and that is your time that's blocked out, with the exception of, heaven forbid, if there's an emergency. That goes without saying, but schedule yourself in your calendar, even daily moments, let alone like maybe even weekly, like I get an hour or two or a day off or whatever, and what that would look like. You'd be surprised how that habit starts to snowball into better things for your life and what you really want to create and design for your life. Then ask yourself, what small change would make intentional living easier for you, not harder? Sometimes intention is less about effort and more about design. You don't need a long journal session every day. Even 1 minute can change everything over time. So here's something else. If you didn't grab your pen and paper, maybe pause this podcast, get out a pen and paper, and ask yourself, What do I need today? What matters most to you right now? What would make today feel aligned, not busy? This builds self-awareness, and self-awareness is the foundation to intentional living. Without it, we drift, we go on autopilot. With it, we choose. We get to choose. You get to choose. Strategy number 5, accept that intention doesn't mean perfection. That's huge for those of us or of you that are perfectionists. You will still have days off. You will still say yes when you meant no, because that comes up. You will still get pulled into old habits sometimes because that's the default, what's etched in the brain. So it's about noticing quicker what's going on for you. Take out your blueprint, your intentions. The goal is awareness, not perfection. Because when you're aware, then you can make those shifts and go, what am I choosing? Or am I abandoning myself? So in wrapping up today's podcast, if nothing else from this, I'd love for you to take this. Your life is not just happening to you. It's being shaped moment by moment by what you say yes to, by what you ignore, by what you prioritize, what you allow, and what you choose. Not rushed, not accidental, not just reactive, but chosen. Thank you for being here with me today. And I want to leave you one more thing. Think about this. What is one small choice you can make today that your future self will thank you for? Until next time, and always much love and blessings, Joni Elizabeth. Thank you for listening to Rise, Reclaim, and Renew. If this episode encouraged you, please leave a 5-star review. It helps this podcast reach more women who need these conversations. And if somebody in your life could benefit, share this episode with them. One share can make a big difference. Until next time, keep rising, keep reclaiming, and keep renewing. Much love, Joni.